Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Cameron Sports Podcast. Uh, as you know, that the national championship just passed by, and we have a champion, and it's Georgia Bulldogs, back-to-back champions. But we're gonna get into that in just a moment. First, I want to announce that the College Football Hall of Fame 2023 class have just been announced. You have, as far as players, you have Eric Berry, defensive back out of Tennessee. You have Michael Bishop, quarterback out of Kansas State. You got Reggie Bush, Heisman Trophy winner out of USC, even though they should give his Heisman Trophy back at this point if they allow him in the College Football Hall of Fame. And plus with NILs going around, I think they need to give it back. You got Dwight Freeney, defensive end out of Syracuse. Robert Gallery, a tackle, Iowa. Michael James, running back out of Oregon. Like I said, that's one of my favorites. I remember seeing him playing in Oregon, especially in the national championship game. Like I said, so I think he definitely deserves it. You got Derek Johnson, running back out of Texas. Bill Cowler, defensive tackle, Montana State. Luke Kuechly, linebacker, Boston College. You could argue he could be a future Pro Football Hall of Famer also, even though he retired a little early in his prime in his career. You got Jeremy Macklin, wide receiver out of Missouri. Terrence Mathis, wide receiver out of New Mexico. Bryant McKinney, offensive tackle, Miami. Corey Moore, defensive lineman, Virginia Tech. Michael Stonebreaker, linebacker, Notre Dame. Tim Tebow, quarterback, former Heisman Trophy winner, also quarterback out of Florida. Brian Westbrook, running back out of Villanova. And D'Angelo Williams, running back out of Memphis. Now you got the coaches. You got Monte Carter, coach who coached for Lakeland, and Shepherd, I don't know if I pronounced that right. Sorry if I do. Roy Carmer, coach out of Central Michigan, who coached for Central Michigan, and others. And you got Mark Rich, who coached for Georgia and Miami. So that is the 2023 College Football Hall of Fame class. So congratulations to those players and coaches. I think it's a really good list of this year's College Football Hall of Fame class. Now on to what the news that everybody probably is talking about. The national championship game that happened this Monday. Now, let's go and recap what happened with that. Now, like I said, I predicted, of course, Georgia to win that game. I thought it would be close because of what TCU did to Michigan, but I still had Georgia winning because I think they're too talented, too many NFL prospects on their team, and yeah, but Georgia ends up going back-to-back. The first team to win back-to-back national championships since Alabama in 2011 and 2012. The first in the college football playoff era. So that was the BCS era when Alabama won back-to-back. This is college football playoff era, so they're first to do it in this format. Like I said, last year they beat Alabama 33-18 to win their first national championship in a long time. And this year they beat TCU 65-7. Like I said, that's not an error, by the way, for those who didn't watch the national championship game. 65-7, Georgia beat TCU. Like I said, now in the beginning of that game, Georgia, they went down. Stetson Bennett, he ran into the end zone for a 20-yard rushing touchdown. So like, okay, cool. They up 10-0 at that point. You know what I'm saying? And then TCU winning score made it 10-7, so I thought it would be a ball game at that point, but next you know it ended up being 17-7 and 24-7. So by halftime it was like 38-7. So at that point I knew the game was over. And then they put their backups in, and in the fourth quarter, and they still kept scoring. So yeah, it was too much for TCU to handle. And but the defensive MVP is Jaron Bouliard, defensive back. He had 2 interceptions in the game. And he was also the defensive MVP in the semifinal game, the Chick-fil-A Bowl against Ohio State. So it's back-to-back defensive MVPs for him in the semifinal game, in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and then now in the national championship game this past Monday. The offensive MVP is Stetson Bennett, who was also the offensive MVP in the Peach Bowl against Ohio State. Now he's offensive MVP in the national championship game. He went 18 for 25, 304 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and 2 rushing. So he had 6 total touchdowns which tied a record with Joe Burrow back in 2019 when LSU won a national championship game for total touchdowns in a single national championship game. So he's up. He tied that record with Joe Burrow. Brock Bowers, the All-American tight end, feature first-round draft pick in next year's NFL draft, not this year's. He had 7 catches for 152 yards and a touchdown. So he had a real good day. And like I said, it's just way too much Georgia. Now for TCU, obviously their stats ain't much because, like I said, they only scored 1 touchdown. Max Duggan, he went 14 for 22, 152 yards and 2 interceptions. So he struggled real bad. And I know him being a senior, I know that gotta suck to put up that performance in a national championship game. And that's nothing on him. He's a real good player. He finished, second in Heisman voting. So, and he could possibly maybe be a first round pick, maybe, or second round. I say somewhere between. I feel like he could be a second round pick, or at least an early third round pick at the latest. Early third round pick, but I feel like he might be second. He could be second round pick. Like I said, TCU's only touchdown came in the first quarter again by Max Duggan running it into the end zone for like 5-7 yard touchdown that made it 10-7, and that was the closest the game was at all the whole night. And so, but of course, the true question is, can Georgia repeat and make history? Because no other team in college football history have three-peated and won 3 straight national championships. So we're gonna look at Georgia's 2023 schedule. The first game they play UT Martin at home. Then they play Ball State at home. They play South Carolina at home. They play UAB at home. Then they go to Auburn on the road. They play Kentucky at home. Then they go to Vanderbilt. Of course, Florida, that's a neutral site game. They play Missouri at home, Ole Miss at home, at Tennessee, and at Georgia Tech. So I'm going to predict the win-loss record. So I'm going to give them a win against UT Martin because obviously they're going to roll past them. Ball State, that's a win. South Carolina with Spencer Rattler at home, I feel like they'll still beat South Carolina, so I'm going to give them that. That'll be probably a close one. UAB, steamroll them. At Auburn, I don't know how Auburn is going to do with Hugh Freeze as their new coach, but I feel like I don't think he's going to get it right away in his first year. So I'm going to give them a win at Auburn. Kentucky at home, and give them a win against Kentucky. Will Levis is gone, so they got to figure out who's going to be the quarterback, which is probably going to be the transfer from NC State. He's going to be the quarterback there. At Vanderbilt, obviously they're going to steamroll Vanderbilt. Florida, with Anthony Richardson gone, to the NFL draft, they obviously got to find a new quarterback also, so I'm going to give them a win right there over Florida. Missouri, win. Ole Miss, with Lane Kiffin, I don't know if their starting quarterback is coming back. I have to look into it, but it's at home, so I'm going to give them a win against Ole Miss. So right there, that's 10-0. So Georgia's going to be pretty much dominant again. Now I look at their last 2 games, which is on the road at Tennessee, at Georgia Tech. Now Tennessee's backup quarterback, he did real good in the Orange Bowl. But Georgia steamrolled Tennessee at home with Malik Hooker. So Malik Hooker's going to be going to the NFL draft, and their top receiver who won the Biletnikoff Award is going to the NFL draft also. So I'm gonna say this is gonna be a close game, but I'm gonna have to give it to Georgia. If Malik Hooker was playing, I probably would maybe give it to Tennessee to get revenge, but I know. At Georgia Tech, not even close. Even though it's in Atlanta, it's pretty much like a home game. Even though it's Athens and Atlanta, it's not that far apart. So I feel like Georgia's gonna finish 12-0 in the regular season and play in the SEC championship game. So now in the West, I can't predict right now who they're gonna play because Alabama don't know who their quarterback's gonna be. You have LSU who won the West last year, played Georgia in the SEC championship. They're gonna be better. I mean, Alabama's still gonna be Alabama. Nick Saban's the GOAT, but I just don't think they just gonna be all dominant like they used to be. They're gonna be real good and they're gonna be competitive. But we got to see what new team is going to be. So, but I got Georgia clearly winning the East. This schedule is not really strong, especially their The three out of their four first games are real easy. UT Martin, Ball State, and UAB. South Carolina, that could be competitive, but they're at home. They're playing South Carolina at home. But that'll probably be competitive with Spencer Rattler coming back. And he ended the year real good in their bowl game against Notre Dame. So, yeah, I'm going to say Georgia. Now, do I think they went back to back? I mean, well, my bad. Would they three-peat? Because they already won back to back. Would they three-peat? I don't know. Like I said, people saying Carson Beck might be their starting quarterback. I feel like they'll make the college football playoff. I have Georgia making it, but I don't think they're going to three-peat. I feel like they're going to come up short, just a little short. They'll get close. They probably make it to the national championship game, but I've definitely got them in the college football playoff. They'll be one of the 4 teams in this upcoming season. Will be the last year of the 14th format, and then after that, in 2024, it'll go to 12 teams. So that'll be even more interesting for all college football playoff fans. So you can finally be able to see your team compete for a national championship and finally see them in the playoff and obviously host a playoff game at your school. So I got Georgia going 12-0, making a college football playoff, but I do not think they will three-peat. Now on to the NFL. Obviously, you know that the NFL playoffs are just about to start. Starting tomorrow, we got the wild card games with Dolphins, Bills. You got Ravens, Bengals, Chargers, Jaguars. And then, of course, NFC, you got Tampa Bay, Cowboys. You got Vikings, Giants. And you got 49ers, Seahawks. So that'll be not all the games tomorrow, but Saturday, Sunday, and Monday are the wild cards games. Now, in the NFL, ESPN analyst Dan Orlovsky made his quarterback rankings for the playoffs, and I wanted to talk about that. He ranked them 1 through 14. So number 1 is Patrick Mahomes, so I'll give him that. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, and he's about to be a 2-time NFL MVP. He already has a Super Bowl on his belt and went to 2 Super Bowls, so he's 1-1. Joe Burrow, I'll go ahead and give him that. He went to the Super Bowl last year and beat Mahomes. Josh Allen, okay, I'll get him. Jalen Hurts, great year. He went to play, even though they got steamrolled in the playoff last year against Tampa Bay, he had a great year this year. If he wouldn't have got hurt, he probably would have won MVP. But, yeah, I'll give him that. 5, Justin Herbert, that's my quarterback for my Los Angeles Chargers. I finally get to see him in the playoffs because I'm tired of all the disrespect he's getting from the NFL analysts talking about, he ain't been in the playoffs. It's not his fault. Brandon Staley keeps making dumb decisions of going for it on 4th down every play. You don't have to go for it on 4th down every play. I don't know what he does not understand that. You don't have to go for it on 4th. It's okay to punt. And he keeps putting us in these bad decisions. Like, I just got a notification that Mike Williams is going to be out. So that makes it even harder for Justin Herbert. Now, we got Keenan Allen, but that's a big-time weapon in Mike Williams who gets them 50-50 balls. He's arguably the best in the league at getting 50-50 balls because he's 6'4", about 220 pounds. So I don't know what Brandon Staley was thinking of playing him late in that game. Really, all the starters late in that game. When we found out we had the 5th seed locked up. So now, if we lose, I hope they fire him. I want Sean Payton. I want a coach that's going to take advantage of our superstar quarterback because Justin Herbert deserves better than this. And I want to shout out to the O-line, offensive line, even though it's not 100%, it's about 80-80. Please hold up. Give Justin Herbert time. Please give him time. Because if you give him time, he's going to help us win. Even though we did get blown out 38-10, but half our team was hurt. I hope Joel Bosa plays. That'll help. Derwin James, Khalil. I just hope the defense steps up. I hope the offensive line gives Justin Herbert some time to throw the ball, and if we will win. If not, then we'll lose. If we lose, I hope they fire him. I hope they fire him the next day because last year we couldn't make the playoffs. He made dumb decisions going for it on 4th down. It cost us a game against the Raiders and missed the playoffs. And this year you got a Super Bowl caliber team literally loaded, and he messes that up. I'm sorry, I almost wanted to cuss, but I'm not. But he messed that up. So if we lose, I hope he gets fired. But I agree with Justin Herbert at 5. Lamar Jackson, news broke that he's going to be out, so I'm going to take him out and put Tom Brady number 6, Daniel Jones, and then he got moved Tom Brady to 6. Then next is because he had Tom Brady at 7, Daniel Jones at 8. Obviously, I disagree with that. I'm gonna have to put Trevor Lawrence. Then you got Geno Smith. I'm gonna put Geno Smith ahead of Daniel Jones also. So yeah. Then Kirk Cousins. I'm gonna put Kirk Cousins over Daniel Jones also. Dak Prescott, even though he ain't had the 2 best year, I'm still put him over Daniel Jones. Brock Purdy, put him over Daniel Jones, and then I'm gonna have Daniel Jones at 13th, and then Skylar Thompson because he has no experience and he's a third-string quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. So I agree about half this list, especially the first 5. I agree with, but watch out for my Chargers tomorrow night against Jacksonville. Win or lose, it's still both up. So, but like I said, if we win, that's great. But if we lose, it's kind of still great because I'm gonna be praying Sunday that they fire this man if we lose. I'm sorry if we do, but those are Dan Orlovsky's NFL analyst quarterback rankings for the playoffs. So yeah. But now next for the predictions for the wild card games. I'm gonna start with the AFC. Obviously, the Chiefs are the number 1 seed, so they got a bye week. They don't play until next week. They'll play the lowest remaining seed. So whoever the lowest remaining seed that wins this weekend from the AFC, they'll play in Kansas City. So first up, we got the Dolphins, who's the 7th seed, against the Buffalo Bills, who's the 2nd seed. Now, the Bills beat the Dolphins last game. They played 40. The Bills and the Dolphins split the season series 1-1. The Dolphins beat the Bills in the first meeting in Miami 21-19. Tua played that game, so it was a real good game. The defense stepped up and Tua played pretty well. But I think he did end up getting a concussion at one point in that game. But the Bills ended up beating the Dolphins again in Buffalo 32-29. Tua played again in that game. Again, that's another close game, 3 points. Like I said, Buffalo won that game. Tua played. Now, Tua is ruled out, so he will not be playing. Skylar Thompson, the third-string quarterback, will be playing. And some of you who probably wonder, what about their second-string quarterback? Well, Teddy Bridgewater, he's out due to injury also, so Skylar Thompson is playing. He's a rookie quarterback out of Kansas State. Now, for my predictions, with Tua not playing, and they're playing in Buffalo in that weather, and the Buffalo Bills going to be motivated, especially to play for Damar Hamlin. And update for him, he's out the hospital. He's been released from the hospital in Buffalo, so he's home now. Prayers to him and his family. I got the Bills 40-10 over the Dolphins. They're going to steamroll them. I don't even think it's going to be close, especially with the third-string quarterback. Josh Allen's going to be looking amazing. Stephon Diggs is going to go off. And yeah, they're going to steamroll and move on. And Buffalo will end up hosting the highest remaining seed from the wild card. Next up, we got the 6th seed Baltimore Ravens against the 3rd seed Cincinnati Bengals. Now, of course, the Ravens beat the Bengals 19-17 in the first meeting in Baltimore. That's when Lamar played. The Bengals beat the Ravens in Cincinnati 27-16 in the last game of the season. So they won the AFC North, split the series, but Lamar did not play that second game. So we got news on that. Lamar is ruled out, so he will not be playing. I don't blame him. Like I said, because he's still recovering from his injury earlier in the season, and plus they still ain't paid him. I think they should pay him at least $300 million, fully guaranteed. He's a former MVP. Pretty much every year he's been in the league, he led them to the playoffs. And I don't know how they're gonna replace him. If I was Lamar, don't sign that franchise tag either. I'll probably request for a trade. Maybe go to Miami, especially with Tua injury. The Miami Dolphins don't trust his injury, so I can see Lamar in Miami. Plus, he's from Florida, and I feel like that'd be a great fit for him in that offense. That speed, Lamar, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert. I would be afraid of that team. I ain't gonna lie. So if he don't stay with Baltimore, I would go to Miami if I was him. But as far as my prediction in that game, if Lamar would have played, I would have had Cincinnati 26-19. So I would still have Cincinnati beating them. But since Lamar is not playing, I'm gonna say Cincinnati over the Ravens 33-6. So I don't think it's gonna be close at all. Joe Burrow is gonna be playing like he did in the national championship game in 2019. Jamar Chase is gonna be unstoppable. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, arguably the best wide receiver trio in the league. So I feel like, yeah, Cincinnati's going to steamroll Baltimore. Now on to the game that I look forward to in the AFC wildcard tomorrow. My Chargers, who are the 5th seed, playing the 4th seed Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, earlier on in the season, the Jaguars did beat my Chargers. I could have been 38-10. But we was hurt. Half the team hurt. Justin Herbert had rib injuries. Half the team, the Keenan Allen wasn't playing. Mike Williams was banged up. J.C. Jackson was banged up. So a whole bunch of injuries. But now we're more healthier. Even though now Mike Williams is out again. So it's like almost like week 3 all over again. But I got my Chargers beating the Jaguars 27-23 because I feel like we finally get to see Justin Herbert in the playoff. People saying, "Oh, Joe Burrow better than him. Oh, Joe Burrow, I'll take Joe Burrow." Okay, but let's see what Justin Herbert could do. Because last year in that week 18 game against the Raiders, he was unbelievable. He could throw the ball. He could make every throw. He's athletic, 6'6", 240 plus pounds. This man is a superstar in the making, and they gonna give him his due. All we need is the offensive line to protect. I wish Mike Williams was playing, but now it's going to make it harder for Justin Herbert. But I feel like he's going to play great, and it's going to be a close game because Trevor Lawrence, he's been playing unbelievable for a second-year quarterback. I think he might be legit, but I would not take him over Justin Herbert. This morning, I'm watching ESPN. They talking about who would you start a franchise with, Justin Herbert or Trevor. This shouldn't even be a question. Talking about it's close. It's not even close. If you're talking about Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, I can give you an argument for Joe Burrow, but even though I would still take Justin Herbert. But Trevor Lawrence is not even close. Not even close. Especially his first 3 years in the league. Have you seen what Justin Herbert has done? The most passing yards in his first 3 years, tying passing touchdowns with Dan Marino in his first 3 years. He almost threw for 5,000 yards, well over 4,000 yards, 4,700 yards passing. 3rd straight year of throwing at least 25 touchdown passes. And gotta give him credit. We're a receiving core that was hurt pretty much all year. Keenan Allen was hurt all year. Mike Williams, and still threw for 25 touchdown passes, throwing to literally practice squad players. I went to the Atlanta Falcons game and I couldn't recognize one receiver out there. And I know almost every player on the team. And it's like the only person that was doing something was Austin Eckler. So thank God for Austin Eckler, and I hope he has a great game this weekend also. So watch out for my Chargers. Bolt up. We coming. But if Brandon Staley costs us the game, he gotta go. Kick rocks. He gotta go. Now for the NFC wildcard playoff matchups. Now for those, the Eagles are the number 1 seed, so they get a bye next week. They'll play the lowest remaining seed from the NFC wildcard. So we'll see that next week. So the first matchup, we got the Seattle Seahawks, number 7 seed versus the number 2 seed 49ers. Now the 49ers swept the Seahawks in the regular season. The first meeting, they beat them 27-7. I think that's when Jimmy G or Trey Lance, Jimmy G played at home. They beat them at home in San Francisco. But then they beat with Brock Purdy, they beat the Seahawks 21-13 on the road. Now, Geno Smith been playing good and all, but the 49ers defense is for real. And they got the defensive player of the year in Nick Bosa. They got pretty much the best linebacker in football in Fred Warner. So, yeah, they're going to be flying. And I feel like they're going to pretty much dominate the Seahawks and win that game. But Pete Carroll, like I said, I give credit to Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. He battled this year. I thought they would struggle, especially without Russell Wilson, but they proved us all wrong. And Geno Smith is a Pro Bowler now, so it's almost like he kind of resurrected his career a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to be their franchise guy at all, but because the NFL draft's coming up, they might draft Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, so we'll see. But I got the 49ers 31-17 over the Seahawks, which they play tomorrow. So the 49ers, Seahawks, and the Chargers, Jaguars games are tomorrow. So this game will be at 4 something, about 4:30 Eastern time. And yeah, next matchup we got the 6 seeded Giants versus the number 3 seed Minnesota Vikings. Now the Vikings and Giants played in the regular season, so pretty much all these playoff matchups this weekend are like rematches during the season. So these teams played each other. So the Vikings beat the Giants in a close game, literally like second, like within a few seconds, they beat them 27-24 at home in Minnesota. So it was a very close game. A lot of people got this as an upset for the Giants. Originally, I had the Vikings over the Giants 20-18, but I got a friend that she's a Giants fan, and I want to give her a shout out to my friend back. She's in El Paso, so I'm gonna say she wins 20. I'm gonna say the Giants win 20-18 over the Vikings. So I'm gonna change my pick and go Giants will win. So over the Vikings, I got an upset just for her, and I will be watching the game with her and cheering the Giants on, even though I'm a Chargers fan. So as long as I'm not playing my Chargers, I'll cheer for the Giants over the Vikings for my friend. Now, next, we got pretty much the most interesting matchup in the NFC wildcard. This will be Monday. So, Seahawks, Giants, Vikings, that'll be tomorrow. It'll be a few more games on Sunday. But this game, Cowboys, the 5th seed versus number 4 seed Buccaneers, will be a Monday night game in Tampa. Now, the Bucks did beat the Cowboys week 1, the first game of the regular season of 2022. Beat the Cowboys 19-3. So, but the Buccaneers offense did struggle. Tom Brady got sacked like 4 times, 2 by Michael Parsons. They struggled to score in the red zone, kicked field goals for the most part, but they did finally score a touchdown. But the Cowboys were even worse. Their offense was really worse. Their defense held up in that game, but their offense was worse with Dak struggling, throwing a couple of interceptions, and they only scored 3 points. But with that being said, I feel like, I don't know, I trust Tom Brady, I really do. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense they're straight. They're a good, solid defense. They may not be what they once was that first year Tom Brady got there, but it's still a good defense. But I don't know. They've been inconsistent. Like they've been like this, like they'll be like this and then this. That Carolina Panthers game was probably the best game they had. So I'm gonna go. Even though I hate to say this because I can't stand Cowboy fans. Because as soon as they win, Skip Bayless on Undisputed. Oh, how about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? We about to go to the Super Bowl. So we're gonna be hearing that Tuesday after the game. But I'm gonna say Cowboys win 17-13 over the Buccaneers. But once after that, which they'll probably, because the Eagles will play the Giants. They'll get steamrolled by the 49ers, and won't hear nothing from Cowboys fans because they're the most annoying fan base that I can think of. But yeah, those are the matchups. Again, I repeat, I got the Buffalo Bills over the Dolphins, Cincinnati over Baltimore, my Chargers over the Jaguars, 49ers over the Seahawks, Vikings, changing my pick. I got the Giants over the Vikings instead of the Vikings over the Giants. But I'm going to keep the same score, 20-18, so I'm going to say Giants instead because my friend, shout out to her again. Then I would say the Dallas Cowboys will beat the Buccaneers in a close game. But I don't think Tom Brady will not retire at all. I think he will come back, but he's not going to be with Tampa Bay. So I feel like he's either going to be with the Las Vegas Raiders or the Miami Dolphins. So I can see that happening. But yeah, that's the news for this episode. I really enjoy doing these videos. It's going to be a great year for my podcast. It's going to be a great year all around for sports. It's going to be me talking about the NFL draft, the NHL hockey, baseball season when that starts. Going to be talking about different things and different sports, different news, breaking news, especially during the NFL offseason as it gets to free agency, retirements, the draft, college football, spring ball. So yeah, a lot of things. And then you're going to see people coming on my show that we can talk, debate. So I look forward to that. I really do. And the more I do this podcast, the more I enjoy it. So yeah, and like I said, a lot of y'all, one day you will see me on ESPN, but that don't mean I'm gonna stop doing this podcast for all my fans out there And I know we not be maybe a big fan base right now, but we're gonna continue to grow. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all. So I'll catch y'all next time on the next episode of Cameron Sports Podcast. And yeah, I am out.